The story begins as the world outside Forks grows darker and more dangerous. In Seattle, mysterious killings plague the city, and whispers of newborn vampires spread like wildfire. Back in Forks, Bella Swan finds herself torn not only between two worlds but between two loves, each pulling her in a different direction with unshakable force. Edward Cullen, her immortal vampire love, wants her safe, protected, and shielded from any harm that could take her away from him. Jacob Black, her childhood friend turned werewolf, insists she belongs to the warmth of his pack, where she could live a normal life without losing her humanity. Caught between them, Bella struggles with choices that could forever alter her destiny. Bella's love for Edward is undeniable, yet her bond with Jacob continues to grow deeper, tugging at her heart in unexpected ways. She feels guilty whenever she sees Jacob's quiet suffering, his longing eyes filled with hope that she might choose him. But she also knows her heart beats faster only for Edward, the one who has become her center of gravity. Still, Jacob makes her laugh, gives her a sense of warmth, and reminds her of her human self, the girl who belongs in sunlight rather than shadows. The tension between the three of them simmers like a storm waiting to break. Edward, ever protective, tries to keep Bella away from Jacob, warning her about the dangers of the werewolves. Jacob, equally determined, refuses to step aside, believing that Edward's world of blood and immortality will destroy her. Bella feels herself stretched thin, a fragile bridge between two rival worlds that could collapse at any moment. Meanwhile, her father Charlie watches silently, aware of his daughter's growing attachment to both boys but helpless to steer her heart. He wishes for her happiness but fears the risks that come with her choices. As the killings in Seattle worsen, the Cullens realize that an army of newborn vampires has been created. These newborns are stronger, faster, and more uncontrollable than seasoned vampires. Suspicion falls on Victoria, the vengeful vampire who seeks to kill Bella to avenge the death of her mate James. Her presence looms like a shadow, cunning and relentless. Edward grows more anxious, unwilling to let Bella out of his sight, while the rest of the Cullen family prepares for an inevitable war. For the first time, they consider joining forces with the werewolves, their natural enemies, to stand against a greater threat. The Uneasy alliance forms in the forests surrounding Forks. The Cullens and the Quileute pack agree to train together, preparing for the battle that lies ahead. Watching them side by side, Bella feels the weight of their sacrifice. The wolves and the vampires hate each other, their histories stained with blood and mistrust, yet they set aside their differences for her safety. It is humbling and terrifying to realize that her existence alone has brought them to this point. She wishes she could end the danger, wishes she could protect them as much as they protect her, but she is only human, fragile, breakable, and far too easy to destroy. During the training, Jacob remains close, teasing Bella with his humor but also confessing his feelings openly. He refuses to hide his love, even in front of Edward, declaring that he will fight for her until she chooses once and for all. Bella tries to make him understand that her love for Edward is permanent, but deep down, she cannot deny that part of her heart does belong to Jacob. One evening, Jacob pulls her aside, holding her face gently as he leans in, stealing a kiss. At first Bella resists, anger and confusion clashing within her, but then something shifts. She kisses him back, briefly, tasting the possibility of a life she could have had. When she pulls away, guilt consumes her, the truth clear in her mind. Her love for Edward is the deepest part of her soul, yet her bond with Jacob will never disappear. The day of battle draws closer. Edward and Bella retreat to the mountains to hide from the newborns, with Seth, one of the youngest wolves, guarding nearby. As night falls, a brutal storm rages across the peaks, cold winds threatening to freeze Bella's fragile human body. Edward cannot warm her with his icy skin, and Bella begins to shiver uncontrollably. Jacob arrives, his body radiating heat, and without hesitation, he pulls her into his arms. Edward watches, his jaw tight, struggling to accept the reality that Jacob can provide something he cannot. In that cramped tent, Bella lies pressed against Jacob for warmth, listening to the storm outside, torn between the two beating hearts on either side of her, one mortal and one immortal. When dawn comes, Edward and Jacob share a rare moment of honesty. They speak quietly about their love for Bella, about the futures they each dream of. Edward admits that if Bella were to choose Jacob, he would let her go, though it would break him. Jacob, equally raw, acknowledges that Bella's love for Edward is nearly unshakable, yet he clings to the sliver of hope that she could one day change her mind. For a fleeting moment, there is respect between them, bound by the girl who ties their lives together. The battle begins as Victoria's newborn army charges through the forest. The Cullens and the wolves fight with ferocity, their movements a blur of claws and teeth against snarling fangs. Trees splinter, earth trembles, and the air fills with growls and screams. The newborns are powerful, but the alliance proves stronger. Bella waits in the tent, listening to the distant sounds of war, her heart pounding with dread for those she loves. Suddenly, Victoria herself appears, her fiery red hair whipping in the wind, her eyes locked on Bella with vengeful hunger. Beside her stands Riley, a newborn fiercely loyal to her, ready to strike. Edward confronts them, his body coiled with deadly precision. He knows Victoria's cunning, her ability to manipulate others, and he keeps his focus sharp. With Seth's help, he faces the pair, fighting to keep them away from Bella. The clash is fierce, Victoria darting with venomous speed while Riley lunges with brutal strength. Bella, terrified, realizes she cannot just sit idle. She remembers the sharp stone beside her and presses it against her arm, cutting herself to let her blood spill. The scent distracts Riley, his hunger overwhelming his loyalty, giving Edward the opening he needs. With Seth's help, Edward destroys Riley and then, with finality, takes down Victoria, ending her vengeance once and for all. The battle ends with victory but not without cost. Some of the wolves are wounded, their bodies scarred from the brutal fight. The Cullens bear injuries that will take time to heal, though their immortal forms will recover. Bella sees the toll it has taken on both sides, the sacrifice made for her sake. She feels both gratitude and guilt, knowing that they risked everything for her fragile life. The Volturi arrive shortly after, drawn by the chaos in Seattle and the newborn army's creation. Their cold presence unsettles everyone, but they find no reason to interfere, satisfied that justice has been served. Still, their eyes linger on Bella, reminding her of the promise she has yet to fulfill, her transformation into one of them. In the quiet aftermath, Jacob confronts Bella once more. His body is battered, his heart heavier than ever. He pleads with her to choose him, to stay human, to live a life filled with warmth, family, and children. Bella listens, tears brimming in her eyes, but she knows her choice. She admits that she loves him, that part of her will always love him, but Edward is the one she cannot live without. Jacob, shattered, turns away, his pain raw and unhidden as he retreats into the forest. Bella watches him go, her heart aching, but her path is clear. Edward comforts her, though he knows the depth of her struggle. He takes her hand, promising her a future together, one where she will become his equal, immortal and unbreakable. He surprises her by proposing again, this time with tenderness and sincerity that leaves her breathless. Bella, finally certain, accepts. The ring glimmers on her finger, a symbol of the choice she has made and the life she has chosen. She knows it will not be easy. The path ahead is filled with sacrifice, pain, and inevitable change, but she feels peace for the first time. With Edward by her side, she is ready to face whatever comes next. As the sun sets over Forks, the forest lies quiet after the storm. The alliance between wolves and vampires dissolves, each side returning to their world, though with a newfound respect that lingers. Jacob's absence weighs heavily on Bella's heart, but she holds on to Edward's hand, steady and strong. She has chosen her future, one bound by love stronger than death, and though the human world still calls to her in whispers, she knows she belongs to the eternal night.